Hello, my resin monkeys! Welcome to part 2 of this monster of a kit special. After all the frustration and problems I had with her in the prep stage, it's now time to actually do the cool part, which is painting! I like to start with the skin tone unless white is a more predominant color in the figure. So what I do is I start building up the color. I add light layers to all the pieces until I get my desired tone. I usually pre-mix color tones and keep them in handy jars for future projects. With this paint, I usually need 2 to 3 layers to get a nice even color tone. Other paint brands usually require more or less. Remember to count the layers until you get the look you desire. I also pre-make my shading tones. I normally add a layer or 2 max and spray very lightly to blend it in with the primary tone. I'm doing something completely new with the transparent pieces that this kit has. I'm in love with these transparent colors from Golden Fluid Acrylics, so I'm adding pink shadings to each piece, just the outer edges and creases, blending them nicely so that it won't remove the transparent effect on the clear resin. This will also have a white gradient. Since I had to do extensive repairs and mods to attach them to the skirt, these pieces will have a very special painting done to them. The white gradient will camouflage the putty and also give it a cool effect. You know that clear fabrics don't look clear when you make creases or fold them, so this will have the same natural effect as what you see in the real fabric. After I'm done with the white shadings, I then apply an even layer of pearl white. Pearl white is semi-translucent when applied on any surface, so using this on clear resin will maintain that transparency. But it doesn't stop there. I'm also adding an even layer of this special paint I use on Sailor Cosmos, but pink instead of blue. This color is transparent but will change color depending on how the light touches it. I wasn't sure about the combination as it was a request from the person who commissioned her to me, but after seeing the end result, I have to say, damn, that looks good! Next, I'm adding shadings to the skirt and the rest of the parts of her body that are white. I don't know why, I just like blue more to shade white than purple or gray. I'm guessing all of you noticed that trend by now. Now it's time to add some crazy gradients to the skirt. The manga version depicts a gradient instead of lines, so that's the goal right now. I'm starting off with blue on the bottom, however, you can also start with yellow. You will get the same result, but just different application. Once I make sure to cover all the areas in the skirt, I will start with the next color. The yellow will automatically make the green layer on the skirt. You just need a steady hand and finger on the trigger of your airbrush. The result is pretty cool, so I'm applying it to the sailor flap as well. All that's left to do is apply some pastel shadings to mark some areas a bit more. After this is done, I'll just seal it and mask it so I can paint the stripes later. The scepter will have a special treatment. Since this is being painted as the manga version, this will also have some extras added. Usually when shading red, I sometimes use blue to pre-shade, but as of lately I favored purple. It's not as hard and dark, so it gives it a nice tone to red. I can't forget to paint Blondie here, so I'm just adding some regular yellow, and then I will add some darker yellow tones to add shades, and then finishing off with pastel shadings in those hair separations. Again, using purple to pre-shade the red in the boots. Since this kit is so big, I'm taking advantage of all these areas I can add perfect details to, like the creases she gets in her boots. Adding red on top covers and blends that purple so well. I'm just loving this tone. Next stop is adding gold to the trim of her waist, then the stripes on her sailor flap, and painting the gold parts on the scepter. Now it's just a matter of painting the white stripes on her boots. I didn't have to mask that much, so that was a relief. There are certain times when I don't want to mask, so this is kind of a shortcut. So don't try it if you don't have a steady hand. You might just paint over the areas you don't want to. Alright, here's a tip. Since the odongos are not transparent, I'll make them look like gems either way. To be able to achieve that effect, I'm adding a glossy black base. Now don't worry, this is all part of the show, so don't freak out. The next step is to add any silver or chrome metallic paint, preferably enamel or lacquer paint, like Alclad 2. It gives it a nice reflective finish, but it does require that glossy black base to look good. Once that's applied, I'm adding clear black paint to the upper areas of the odongo to simulate depth. Gems have different coloration depending on the light it's being reflected on, so the standard is the dark color above. I'm also applying the same effect to the rest of the parts that are supposed to have a gem-like effect. Once the clear black is applied, then I add 1 to 2 layers of red enamel paint. I like this tone of red because it kinda has like a gold shimmer to it, so it looks really cool. This is the end result after applying that red on top of the odongo gems, and the rest of the items she has with a similar gem effect. And I need to apologize to you guys. I actually did get carried away when I started to paint the eyes and actually forgot to set up the camera. I promise I'll make it up to you guys next time. And yes, if you're wondering, I did add real eyelashes to the eyes for something entirely different. So like I said, I promise I'll make it up to you. For the last touches on the spiral moon rod, I'm adding real gems so it can look like the manga version. For this, I'm using simple crazy glue but in gel form so it won't spill everywhere. I'm also adding star gems to make it pop even more since the ones that were sculpted kinda look crappy. And that's all set. Now it's time for the base. What I'm doing for this particular base is adding elements from her Rainbow Moon Heart attack. Since she has butterflies flying around her while she does the attack, that's what I'm going to do here, but with a magical touch. I sculpted these butterflies and made molds from each one to cast it in clear resin. I've used this product before, so be sure to check out my previous videos. You need to mix equal parts and stir for a couple of minutes. After that's done, I'm going to add some glow-in-the-dark powder. I've also used these products in the past. The link to my review and where to buy is in the description area below, so be sure to check that out. So please don't ask where I got it when you already have the information there. Okay, so back to topic. I'm actually mixing colors to give a rainbow effect to each butterfly. After 10 to 12 hours, they're all ready and can be taken out of the mold. And this is what you will end up with. Making a lot of them took me probably about a week. The main problem is the cure time, so I had to actually play the waiting game on that. It's a little tedious. The base itself will have a blue background and a heart in the middle. That's to simulate the heart that appears when she defeats her enemy. And without further ado, here's Super Sailor Moon in all her glory. enjoyed part 2 of this special WIP. I'll be uploading more WIPs in the near future, so subscribe to this great channel. After all, it's your #1 stop for GK info on YouTube. Yeah, no joke, I did do my research. There might be tons of Gundam channels, but this one has the info you're looking for. Also, I want to just point out that I've started a new service for those interested in having personal coaching and assistance on GK building. The link to the info is also in the description area, so be sure to stop by later. Until next time, my resin monkeys!